Okay, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I believe we are currently live on YouTube. Already got a few people tuning in. I hope you guys can see me all right. I know my house is a little bit of a mess behind me. I haven't had them made for a couple of days. So today's live stream, I'm just going to jump straight into things, is about Parasite SEO, obviously. If you haven't been listening, if you've been living under a rock, you will know, right, that we have just released the parasiteseo.com public beta. Now, the public beta is a little bit buggy, and we have got a few different bits and pieces that are still going to be releasing over the next couple of days and weeks. However, today's live stream is not about the tool. It's about the Q&A. So I've already got about 30 questions from folks around the world on Twitter and on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to start jumping into those. But if you have got any specific questions that you would like to ask me, go ahead over to the YouTube live chat. Should be on this side or on this side. I'm not 100% sure, depending on where you are. I'm pretty sure it's this side. Go over to the YouTube live chat and I will go through from top to bottom, depending on who is asked them first. And I'll try and answer them. So I'm just going to jump into the questions that we have from LinkedIn and X first. The very first question comes from Saeed from microlaunches.net. And I will be the bottom side. Here, there, up, everywhere, right? So Saeed asks, very first question, what to do if Parasite SEO ends up being penalized by search engines? If so, does the penalty get applied to a domain or a page? So, number one, neither of those things, actually, weirdly enough, right? When search engines penalize parasites, generally speaking, and this is literally at this point, 99% of the parasites that have been hit this year and even last year, they penalize subfolders. Because these are generally large news organizations, they end up penalizing subfolders more than they end up penalizing the entire domain. They can't penalize a domain that has got 2 million other news stories on it because they've sold 5,000 parasite pages, right? So they end up normally just hitting that subfolder. And because of that, there are loads of parasites right now that because they don't operate on a subfolder level, they still rank absolutely massively. So if you, that's why I've recommended, and you can go through all of my interviews for the last year or so, I've continually recommended that people buy parasites that aren't on specific subfolders, that have got those subfolders like, slash brand blend, slash marketplace, slash sponsored post, things like that. If it's just slash news, if it's the date, even better, things like that aren't going to get hit or penalized. The second question that Said asked is, I'm starting to guest post on my platform. If we make a publisher series with backlinks accepted, is this different from Parasite SEO? Yes. Guest posting, link building, link selling is different to Parasite SEO, right? And it's because of intention. The direct intention with link building is to get links to a page to rank that page. The direct intention with Parasite SEO is to rank that page. So you're kind of removing that middle ground, which you're doing with link building, because you're building links to rank a page. You're not building the page to rank itself with link building, but you are doing that with Parasite SEO, right? So that's Said's questions answered. Anne Murray is the next person who asks, number one, can Parasite SEO be a good source of backlinks given there's enough of them, especially in bulk? For foreign markets, etc., not normally tier one. I actually think that a lot of parasites can be fantastic backlinks. It's just, again, because your intent is to try and rank those pages and you're manipulating Google, if Google does ever hit those parasite pages, or if those parasites get hit at a subfolder level, you can then risk getting your own website hit, right? So I would be extra careful and make sure that you don't explicitly link from parasites that have got a high likelihood of getting hit to your own domain. And generally speaking, I never normally use parasites as backlinks. Yes, they can be a fantastic backlink, But as you would do with any link building, you want to do your due diligence and make sure that it's going to come from a site that isn't going to get affected and isn't really spammy and isn't selling links to, like Viagra sites and casino sites en masse. The second question that Anne asked is, how do you post hundreds of posts to parasites in one go? Is there any automation in play? Yes. The number one automation that we have is AI content, right? So number one, if this was 4 years ago, we would not be able to build the level of parasites that we're building, right? Because we would have to pay an exorbitant amount to writers. We'd probably have to have like a 30 or 40 man writer team just to fulfill the parasite pages that we're building right now with like 1 or 2 VAs. It's actually absurd. The other style is that because AI allows you to essentially duplicate content, you can create, even if it is with a human writer, one piece of content and then just get an AI tool like Cuppa to rewrite that article over and over and over and over again until you have got unique pieces. And you can do that again over and over and over again. The other part from your first question about are they a good source of backlinks is because generally speaking, you're building 20 or 30 parasite pages for one keyword. That can obviously be overkill linking to your own page. However, if you have got 20 or 30 parasites ranking top 100 in the SERPs for your direct keyword, they can also be a fantastic source of backlinks because they are direct competing pages. Again, it's all just due diligence when it comes to link building, and Parasite SEO and link building aren't the same thing, but you can have crossover with them. It's just generally speaking, we don't have much crossover when it comes to link building and Parasite SEO, right? The third question and final question that Anne asks is, after bot posting those, what's the efficient way to track its ranks? Rank trackers, right? Generally speaking, again, most browser-based rank trackers, so you think, your AccuRank, your Wincher, your keywords.com, most of them, they're really expensive now, right? Like, you track 1,000 keywords and it ends up costing you like $100 a month or something stupid like that. You can, if you are any way, shape, or form good at coding, or any way, shape, or form good at using AI for coding, so, things like Cursor or even Claude nowadays, you can build it yourself. You can deploy your own rank tracker using a scrape from something like data4seo.com, and you can scrape 100,000 SERPs for like $80, right? I think $50 in some cases. So you can scrape 100,000 keywords every single day for $100. If you're paying the rank trackers that, you would end up paying them like $100,000 a month or something stupid, right? The next question comes from the lazy affiliate who asks, how can I use parasites for local rank and rents? Number one, I don't do much local SEO, and I don't use much local SEO. So I'm not the person to necessarily directly ask when it comes to local SEO. However, I do some level of lead gen, and I do a lot of CPA. It depends on the niche you're going into. If you have got map packs listed in the SERPs, then there's not much point in doing Parasite SEO. You might as well just do GMPs. See if you can do like bulk GMPs, get different addresses, try and make sure your main GMP is the most powerful out there, all that kind of stuff, right? If it's organic results, you can do all sorts of organic results for local queries, and generally they're more local service pages. So instead of looking for, tree surgeon near you, you look for a specific type of tree that needs to be cut down near you or something like that, and you just create a parasite page for every single type of tree in your local area that needs to be cut down, right? And those sort of ones, generally speaking, don't show maps versus the other types of keywords. So Parasite SEO for local rank rent, all that kind of stuff, is only good when it comes to not having the map packs there. If the map pack's there, it's pretty much pointless. I'll quickly leave a shout out to the chat. What's up, Mo? What's up, Hassan? What's up, Ismail? What's up, Scott? What's up, Benolos? And what's up to the Ecom Dynamax team as well. I'm going to move on to movers, which is the next person who has asked a question here, which is, what's the best way to get into Parasite SEO on a $300 budget? Build more capital. Use free Parasite pages to build up that $300 capital. I wouldn't even spend much of that $300 capital. I would go and do as much research analysis as you possibly can, especially in niches where you're going to get a fairly decent commission that isn't going to take ages to pay out. This is the other thing, right? A lot of people want to go for high ticket commissions when it comes to affiliate, but guess what? A lot of high ticket commissions are going to have 90 or even 180 day payout clauses. Do you realistically want to wait 3 to 6 months to see your commissions? Or would you rather go for a lower ticket commission affiliate program where you're actually going to see those commissions in 30 days, maximum 90 days, you know? But a lot of these higher ticket commissions, you know, I'm talking like gold IRA, even machinery, you know, B2B sales, all of that kind of stuff. They're getting really, really high payout windows, which is just kind of screwing over a lot of that parasite capital building for the little guy. So I would make sure, A, whatever commissions you're earning, you can earn them faster so that you can actually earn that capital and that cash flow to reinvest. And B, make sure that you're focusing on programs that are going to convert and focusing on keywords that you can rank with 3 pages. You might rank number 2, you might rank number 3, you might rank number 5. It doesn't matter. The main point is that you're building 10, 20, 30 free Parasite SEO pages per SERP, and you're ending up with at least one of them ranking number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And you do that every day for a week, every day for a month, every day for 6 months. And that compounding growth on free Parasite pages means your commissions just start ticking up and up and up and up and up, and your traffic starts ticking up and up and up and up. And then once you have that traffic and that capital, you can reinvest it. And again, it depends on how good you are executing Parasite campaigns. It depends on how good you are at SEO. It depends on how good you are at budgeting, all of these kind of things. But I have seen a lot of people recently being able to grow from literally 0 to 5 figures a month, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month from free Parasite pages. And there's an absolutely fantastic case study on YouTube right now. It's by Jason Mills from the Affiliate School, who's one of the testimonials on parasiteseo.com. He does a case study using Reddit, and he goes from literally 0 to $20,000 a month using Parasite SEO on Reddit in like 30 days or something. It's absolutely wild. And he documented the entire thing on YouTube. Yes, it ended up getting slightly burned, but that wasn't even because of Google. It was because of the Reddit moderators catching up, right? It still worked inside of Google. It still worked inside of SEO. It was just the site moderators on Reddit themselves started getting cleverer. So that's another part of Parasite SEO. You have to be slightly careful that you're not building pages that the actual moderators and admins and webmasters of those sites are going to remove, delete, or 301 or change the affiliate links on. That goes for both free and paid parasites. Okay, the next question, and I'm just going to have a quick drink and say what is up to Tom as well. Cheers, Tom. So the next question comes from Chris Riley. So shout out to Chris. He is the CEO of Cuppa, so my business partner as well. Chris asks, what's your success rate with Parasite? I tested Parasite articles with affiliate links in 2023. I think I was at about a 30% success rate in my testing. 1 or 2 articles ranked with my affiliate links. Others were total duds. Is that a normal percent ratio? Thankfully, the one that did rank was Cold Plunges, and it was a $350 commission. So he absolutely creamed it. And again, this is what I'm saying. It's a bit of a hit or miss shotgun kind of approach where as long as a few pages rank, you start ending up banking commissions. And if you do that again and again and again, that compounding growth tends to scale up quite well. He also had an article where 2 of the 4 affiliate links are pulled by the brand. Okay, so there's kind of a few parts to that question. The first question is the success rate side of things. So with paid Parasite, we have got our success rate up to high 90%. Right? We can almost guarantee that if we are purposely building a paid Parasite to rank in the top 10, it will rank in the top 10, right? That's almost a guarantee at this point. Yes, there are certain niches like gambling and a few other ones where A, the competition level is just so high, and B, the freshness level is absolutely crazy. You end up building a Parasite campaign, and 2 days later, somebody ends up buying a Parasite page on an even more expensive, higher TR site. That's one of the few niches that actually that happens in. However, most of the times, paid Parasites nowadays are absolutely creaming it. It just depends on which ones you're picking, and that's why parasiteseo.com makes it so much easier, right? It does a lot of that hard work for you. When it comes to the success rate for free Parasites, that's a different story, right? That massively depends on so many different variables. It's actually kind of crazy. The first variable is other free Parasites. If you're trying to build LinkedIn post articles and there's already 3 in the SERPs, it's going to take some work to actually outdo them. And freshness can mean that you outrank them for a temporary amount of time, but then it pulls it back down and it stops ranking after, the first 3 or 4 days. It can go immediately to number 1, number 2, number 3. Normally it doesn't immediately go to number 1. Normally it's not number 5, number 6. And then normally it shoots all the way back down out of the top 100 and it gets replaced by the previous LinkedIn Pulse articles. Normally, if you're trying to replace LinkedIn Pulse, Medium, one of these contextual style free parasites, then you have to go above and beyond. If there's currently a 1,500 word article with 3 images and a YouTube video, you want to go 2,500 words, manually edited, go to fucking town on that free parasite, and that one normally will outrank the current piece because it's a high quality score. Backlinks, internal links, all of that kind of stuff also play a massive role into it. And if the page that's already been there for 6 months has got some links, has got some internal links, you need to give even more reason for Google to outrank that page. It's not good enough to just beat it at a non-page level. So generally speaking, you want to go into niches where you don't have competitors that are going to react immediately. You don't have a huge amount of competitors that are hugely SEO skilled and SEO trained. And you want to have commissions that are going to try and pay you out within reason so that you can reinvest that capital into growing out more expensive pages and bigger campaigns and bigger niches later on down the line. Shout out to James and shout out to Rehan who just joined the chat as well. So Strange Trip asks, how would you advocate for best gaining an early mover advantage in affiliate parasite SEO? The current idea I have is to find brand new affiliate offers on ClickBank, etc., and try and get review posts up on parasites before anyone else. Is there a better way? So essentially what you just described there is launch jacking, right? As soon as a new product goes live on ClickBank, JVZoo, Share a Sale, all of these networks and marketplaces that have existed over the last 10, 20 years that everybody has abused Parasite SEO for, that's launch jacking. And Parasite SEO is absolutely fantastic for that. The issue that you have is that when you end up going into those marketplaces, generally speaking, there are other SEOs, there are other digital marketers, there are other people who already know about it. So they're immediately going to do the same things that you're thinking of. If you have got advantages, so let's say you go into a health SERP and you figured out a really strong health parasite that nobody else really has access to or nobody else is really using, and you can sort out some sort of exclusivity arrangement or exclusivity contract for that keyword, that niche, that product in place, that's fantastic. And then you just keep on using that site for every single launch jacking in that niche, and it works every time, right? And you end up buying 2 posts a month off that site and having a great relationship with them. The only issue, like I said, is that there's other SEOs, there's other people competing in those SERPs. I don't recommend usually trying to go into the SERPs where there's going to be a heavy amount of competition and there's going to be a heavy amount of SEOs that have got capital already, that have already ranked, that are already earning, that have already got reason to try and still rank for that keyword. You can come in, take number 1, and then the previous guy who's number 1 already has $20,000, $30,000 of earnings from that keyword. So they want to put it back in and try and take that keyword back, right? I would be very careful when it comes to stuff like that, especially if you're new to Parasite SEO. Is there a better way? Yes, right? The better way is using launch jacking for products that nobody else knows about, right? One of the most easy ways you can do it is when influencers launch courses that have got affiliate promotions, right? I ranked for Andrew Tate's course as an example, right? Fuck politics. I don't give a fuck about politics. I just knew that he was going to blow up, as he has done, right? He's covered in every mainstream media nowadays. At the time when I first wrote the article, he was barely known by, Sky News and BBC News. Nowadays, they're talking about him every week. If you can get on that hype, be ranking number 1 for when they do blow up, right? My page got 1 million visits from ranking for that. I was the only site below DR60 in that SERPs. If I'd also used Parasite SEO, I probably could have taken number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, right? But I didn't, because I was just trying to show a case study and I shouldn't do it publicly. I generally don't do a lot of these case studies publicly for good reason, because you can generate 1 million visitors to one page in 6 months, right? That's generally worth a lot more than a tweet, unfortunately. However, generally speaking, the best way is dependent on you. What's your advantage? Do you know something about a niche that other people don't know? Do you have connections to a brand? Do you know a business owner that you can essentially be an affiliate for and get way higher commissions than anybody else is in that niche? There's all sorts of things that, generally speaking, depending on who you are, what you know, and who you know, you can have additional advantages that you don't even think about that you should have versus other people. And if you're going into niches where people are already good at Parasite SEO and it's your first time, then they're going to have an advantage over you, unfortunately. So shout out as well to Lab41 and Rotary and Lily, who's just joined the chat as well. Dorian asks, question number 1, can't we focus on the big ones? LinkedIn, Reddit, Medium. Do we need all the little parasites? How can they be better than the big ones? Right? Number 1, you are right to an extent. Okay. So generally speaking, those big parasites, LinkedIn, Reddit, Medium, YouTube, Quora, all that kind of stuff, right? They're going to rank for loads of keywords. The only problem is that there's also going to be loads of other people already generating content for those keywords, generally speaking. So it's harder to outrank what's already been there for a year, 6 months, 2 years without doing considerably additional extra work. If you use some of the little free parasites, right? Number 1, sometimes they can have higher levels of niche localized authority. For example, if you go and you put my name into parasiteseo.com, right? As an example, you can use ORM, so online reputation management for Parasite SEO. If you're going to put my name in, it's going to recommend blackhatworld.com as one of the free parasites that you can put up in there, right? That's a fantastic recommendation because in SEO, especially in Black Hat SEO, especially in affiliate marketing, things like that, right? Black Hat World generally will have way higher levels of topicality and topical authority than Reddit will, because Black Hat World has even more content, even more depth, even more specific links, all of these kind of things around that topic than Reddit does. And that happens again and again and again in so many niches because they're niched down, localized UGC sites. So there are so many of them that people don't even realize, they don't know about, they don't know that you can abuse, they don't know that you can exploit, all these kind of things. And that it's slowly people are realizing, finding them out, and that's why they're getting exploited more and more, right? The second question that Dorian asks is, what are the best practices for a new account on Parasite pages for indexing purposes and ranking higher in SERPs? So a new account on free parasites greatly depends on the parasite in the first place, right? If it's LinkedIn, for example, LinkedIn are getting way more secure about deleting post articles. And they have got this automated system now that can flag and suspend your account if you're posting and abusing it too much. So as a bit of a workaround, and there's actually 2 workarounds here. Number 1, if you post it from a company's LinkedIn post, that normally actually gets it indexed straight away, because profiles have got this weird thing going on where depending on your settings, depending on how new the account is, all these kind of things, it won't get indexed. But because it's a LinkedIn post status from a company account, normally they do get indexed. Number 2, LinkedIn, if you get LinkedIn Premium, right, normally you don't get accounts banned and you can post more articles. We found that if you don't have LinkedIn Premium, you can get flagged and suspended by posting 10 posts of spammy AI content-ish per day. If you get LinkedIn Premium, that goes up like 100, maybe even 1,000 if you can really take the piss, right? So you get a lot more room to get away with things, and you generally get your stuff indexed straight away, even if it's on a new account, if you buy Premium straight away. Again, it depends on the site though. If it's Reddit, you just get every profile indexed, right? If it's YouTube, you get every video indexed as long as you set it public. All of these things are dependent on the parasite, and because there's 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 free parasites out there, it's pretty hard to give you guys some specific knowledge on that one, unfortunately. And shout out to the viewership. I think we're closing in on 50 viewers right now live, so that's pretty cool. Link building strategies for different levels of competition. So this comes from Jared Smith. He asks, number 1, what would be the link building tactics for low competition keywords? So generally speaking, because you're using Parasite SEO, because they have got huge high authority domains, you can get away with no link building, right? So we normally, for low competition keywords, you're in a low competition keyword, your average competitor is a DR30. You're now putting DR90s is free parasites and DR70s and 80s is paid parasites into the SERP. They rank immediately, and they will rank top 10 on the first day. We've put parasites on DR78s or 80s, around that kind of metric area, that are paid in the $200 to $400 mark. We put them live, and the same day they have ranked number 2. The same day they ranked number 3. Generally, it's a bit harder to immediately go to number 1 on the same day, but it's possible, and we have done it before. It's just not as consistent, right? High competition link building tactics, that's a different story, right? When it comes to high competition, that's when the analysis gloves really start to come out, and we're going to start doing some deep analysis into the SERP. The first thing is internal linking. We normally, if we're dealing with a high competition SERP, we will buy multiple posts on the same parasite and then internally link them back to our main parasite. So we'll put the main one first live, let's say, best Bitcoin marketplaces, best Bitcoin exchanges, whatever. And then we'll put the supporting ones live afterwards that internally link back to the main one. They could be what is Bitcoin, Bitcoin exchange rate, Bitcoin fluctuations, Bitcoin predictions for 2025, that kind of stuff, but they're going to link back. A lot of the time, we'll still make them money pages because we're going to want them to rank, but we want to rank for long tail keywords or variations of our main keyword that this page isn't going to match the intent for, and that we need another page to match the intent for. We also, a lot of the time, because we're building multiple parasite pages in one niche, we normally build the most expensive, the biggest ones first. And they normally, again, they'll go to like number 10, number 11, number 14, number 13, something like that. Then we'll build all the other smaller ones, but we'll get them to link back to the main parasite. And that's normally the best strategy so far from being able to actually grow them at a scale, because it's the direct SERP relevancy and competitors that are linking back to the original parasite page. We also use niche edits, PBNs. We don't use gas posts for Parasite SEO because there's no point, because they don't hold the same level of power, all of that kind of stuff, right? So next question comes from Sanj, and he asks, does Parasite SEO still work for clients with a load of quality backlinks and very high domain authority? Yes. So obviously, Parasite SEO is probably going to work just as well as your own domain will ranking. So if you start building new pages for your own domain will probably perform just as well as the parasites, because the entire point of Parasite is that you've got all of this authority and stuff, which you don't normally have on your own website. With that being said, you can still use it to take other positions. So if you're number 2, number 1, number 3 for a keyword, you can use Parasite SEO to take more SERP realty. So you can take more positions, send more people back to you, and in another sense, future-proof yourself versus SGE and Google AI overviews. Because as they come out, it's no longer good enough to have one page ranking to build that AI overview. You need multiple pages in the SERP to build a consensus to get that SG to output what you want it to output. So if you can have 10, 20 pages ranking in the top 100 for your keyword, and they are all matching your consensus that you built, you can often manipulate the AI overviews output to actually favor you, your brand, your products, your company, your services, your clients, right? All of that stuff is very dependent, again, on how Google rolls out SG and how things change. But generally speaking, it's the easiest way to abuse SG and AI overviews right now. We've got a few more questions from some people here, and then I'll go over to the YouTube live chat, because I see a lot of people asking questions in there already. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Okay, Matt Beach asks, how much fun can you have with it compared to, say, grinding to position 1 as per the guidelines? Well, depends on what you think is fun, right? I don't necessarily think it is that much fun following Google's guidelines and grinding the whole way up and trying to make sure that you've got every nook and cranny filled with content and doing all this kind of stuff without having the ability to build or buy links, waiting all this time, waiting for algorithm updates to see if they do positively affect you or not, or if they're just going to continue to favor your competitors that have got huge amounts of link authority. So I don't actually think the white hat side is as fun. I do think the white hat side can be fun when it comes to digital PR, when it comes to like creative campaigns, all that kind of stuff. But 90% of the work in white hat SEO is boring. It's technical SEO, it's topical map building, it's making sure you've got every nook and cranny filled, it's making sure there's no errors, no 404s, no broken links, none of this stuff, right? But that's not fun, right? I would rather go and spam 20, 30 parasite pages using AI as like a gamified system than actually creating this weird, technical amounts of content. So it's dependent on you as a person, what you deem as fun, right? I have more fun out of exploiting in gaming systems than I do generally building crazy informational scaled campaigns about niches and topics that I don't really have interest in, okay? I do think that you can still have a lot of fun when it comes to messing around with Parasite SEO. So the one cool thing about Parasite is that you can rank in any niche, right? You don't have to have a domain that's niche relevant anymore. You can do anything. So there's loads of Parasite SEO techniques. If you Google, for example, the sexiest SEO in the world, you will see Matt Diggity's face pop up there. If you Google Manchester's sexiest woman, it comes up with James Dooley in a bikini, right? It's all these silly trolls and things like that. that actually make Parasite SEO a bit more fun when you have a community around you as well. And there's some more, if you've been following Craig as well for any amount of time, you will definitely see some of Craig's trolls that have come out of him with some Parasite campaigns in the past. I'm not sure if I can even say them on YouTube without getting banned these days. The next question comes from David Ruiz. Number one, he asks, I need to get my blog post accepted by the Parasite website. How easy is that? It depends on your niche, right? And it depends on the website. Some websites will take anything, right? As long as you're paying, they don't care. They'll take whatever content you want. Generally speaking, they aren't the websites you want to do business with. You want to make sure that you are doing business with websites that fit into your niche. If you're in gambling, if you're an adult, then your pool is limited, and you might as well just go with ones that everybody else is doing anyway, just to see how far you get. If your niche is completely random, we always go back to like concrete, and we always go back to like building equipment and things like that, which are not the most interesting of things in the world. Those niches don't have any problem getting accepted. People just don't really care. When it comes to anything that has any sort of politicization, anything that could be potentially dangerous to people's health or finances, things like that, they are questionable and they are harder. It's also dependent on your country, right? So, for example, we do a lot of Parasite in like Norway. We do a lot of Parasite in Brazil. We do a lot of Parasite in some Asian countries, right? The European countries have got 10 times the amount of regulation that the South American and the Southeast Asian countries have, right? So you can get away with posting so much more on some sites in some countries than others. I would just it's very dependent on your niche and very dependent on the country and language that you're ranking. Number two, I need to sign up for and get accepted to affiliate plans. How easy is that when using Parasite websites? That's actually a very good question, right? Number one, it depends on the affiliate plan. So some affiliate plans are instant approval. You just sign up, you get approved, you get your email, you go to the affiliate dashboard, you get your affiliate link, you're good to go. Some affiliate programs you have to actually apply for, right? And that is going to depend on the affiliate manager. It's going to depend on how much they need the business. It's going to depend on how much they care about their brand and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, what we normally do is show them examples of our other work. So we'll show them an example of an article that we've talked about another brand on this specific website. And generally, if it's a specific affiliate program for a specific brand you're trying to get approved for, it's either going to be an international affiliate program or it's going to be a localized affiliate program. And the localized ones absolutely love it when you start giving them free media. So if you start putting them in the biggest newspaper in the world or in the biggest newspaper in that country, they love it, right? They don't care. They want you to do that for them. So they normally encourage you to do a lot of the Parasite SEO stuff, right? The ones that don't will be very honest with you and they'll be straight up and they'll say they'll want your domain and they want you to get approved because they normally want a specific metric guaranteed. They want you to say, oh, you can guarantee that my website gets 10,000 or 100,000 visitors per month, or you can guarantee that I'm going to be able to generate 100 clicks a month or 1,000 clicks or 10 sales or 100 sales or something like that per month. The next question comes from an OG in the game, Mr. Patrick Babakanian, who has recently sold his company. I was speaking to him on LinkedIn. Shout out to Patrick. Which sub-niches work well for Parasite SEO in terms of monetization? Is it worth it for the ROI and ranking probability? So obviously the biggest monetization paths when it comes to Parasite are always going to be the big niches, right? So you're talking your crypto, you're talking your gambling, you're talking your finance, you're talking your weight loss, stuff like that. The ones that people will spend stupid amounts of money on that half the time don't actually do or get them anywhere anyway, right? A lot of those are absolutely fantastic. It's just as part of your second question there, right? The rankability goes down considerably because every other SEO on the planet already knows this and they're in those niches as well, right? So I tend to prefer to go down monetization paths that either A, you have an advantage in. So like I already said a bit earlier, you already have a friend or a company or a connection or something that you have over the general SEO public, or you have experience in. So a great example is when I first started out, I was doing a lot of paintball affiliate. I knew what the best paintball guns are. I knew what the best brands for paintball gloves, for paintball armor for your arms are, for your elbow pads, for your knee pads, for your trousers, for your helmets, for your masks, for the sprays that you'd clean your goggles with, for your hoppers that you put on your gun. I knew which companies made the best paintballs, right? All of that stuff. I didn't have to do all of that additional research when I was actually creating those Parasite pages and when I was creating those affiliate sites in the first place, and those niche sites in the first place. I like those methods because you don't have to do that research. You don't have to find the best affiliate program. You don't have to find the best company. You can just go and do it immediately, sign up, know how to create the content, know what looks good, know what is good, and start promoting stuff. Generally speaking, if you have to go and find all of that additional research, you've just added 10 to 100 hours of work onto your plate. And I don't want to be having 10 to 100 hours of work because I don't have that time to do it. The beauty of AI nowadays is that it actually can do a lot of research packages for you. So you can use things like Perplexity to actually build kind of research overviews and statistics and information and best providers and all that kind of stuff. And it's generally very good. In terms of some recommendations, though, from some other profitable Parasite niches that I've come across recently, AI is fantastic, right? So if you Google best AI girlfriends, best AI boyfriends, that's absolutely huge right now. Some people are paying disgusting amounts of money because they're paying as like a credit chat system to chat to these fake girlfriends and boyfriends. However sad that is getting to this point, and however much ethicality you feel when it comes to that. But if you're promoting gambling stuff, it probably doesn't matter. The final person who had questions prior to me going over to this live chat, which I see just hitting me with questions here ready to go, is from Ash K, who basically says that a lot of the PR sites, as a direct result of places like Outlook India doing so well from selling these posts, are increasing their prices. So will Parasite SEO be easier using the free parasites, or will it be more tricky now that you have to pay more money for these parasites? Well, I actually think that them increasing prices is probably a good thing because it means that, number one, you're not selling links which probably shouldn't be sold. So a lot of the time, even Outlook India, right? Outlook India got to a point where they were selling posts for like $150. I was buying links directly off Outlook India. They were selling them for $150 or $200. That's ridiculous, right? That is way, way, way too cheap to be selling a sponsored article for the most popular parasite at the time from. And it just meant the quality dropped considerably. Everyone and their mom and their grandma and their son ended up buying a parasite off Outlook India. And it meant, like I said, that the average quality of the parasites on that subfolder dropped massively. And it meant that often, a lot of the times, you were getting cannibalized by other people because you were the same affiliate program was selling to, or same affiliate program was being promoted by 28 different affiliates that were all buying off of Outlook India. So you ended up having 28 parasite pages for the same product on Outlook India. Stuff like that is a bad thing. So I actually like it if they're increasing their prices, so it's kind of removing a lot of the middle ground. The second part is that those prices are negotiable. Never, ever agree to the first price that they have sent you. Always come back, always say, I normally go to immediately, I want to do long-term business with you. I want to buy multiple posts. I'm an agency. I have clients. All of these kind of buzzwords that the sales guys at these companies are looking for. And they will immediately go to their lowest price possible. Or normally what they do is they'll give me a bulk rate. So they'll say, okay, if you buy one post, it's going to be this rate. But if you buy 3, it's this rate. If you buy 5, it's this rate. If you buy 10, now we're talking, we can get really low, right? So generally speaking, come back, negotiate. Don't go for their first price. Never agree off the bat. Use your bartering skills. This is in Parasite SEO. It's fantastic. And bear in mind, if you can get a parasite to drop from $500 to $300, you have just made your ROI jump massively, right? I also recommend that you bake in ROI, bake in profitability, bake in these calculations and these forecasts into your Parasite SEO campaigns in the first place. If you don't know how much money you could be making from the SERP, then you don't know how much money you should be spending on ranking there in the first place. I always recommend doing forecasting. I always recommend making sure you are actually going to that position and going to check if you can rank there, if it's going to generate the ROI in the first place. And because Parasite SEO can be hit and miss, more so on the free than the paid side, like we said, we definitely want to make sure that we are protecting our investment. And that's the other side of it. Look at Parasite SEO as an investor. That's all I do. I look at SEO from investment mentality. So, damn, took us 38 minutes, but we got through all those questions so far. Now it is time to go through the live chat on the right-hand side here. So, the first question comes from Mohammed, and he says, "Can we use one article to submit to all platforms Parasite SEO, or has it got to be unique articles?" Has to be unique articles, right? Parasite SEO. Actually, so number one, Parasite SEO can work with like syndicated press releases. I've seen that all the time, but generally speaking, it works significantly better if you've got unique articles because you want the content to be unique and contribute to the consensus of the SERP. And you don't want Google demoting other pages. And if you want to look up a specific reason for this, there's something called link inversion, right? And there's a fantastic case study by Dijon SEO. Look up link inversion. It's one of the main reasons why you don't want to be using syndicated content, because you don't even know which parasite ends up being the most authoritative and which one will end up ranking with that content, right? How are you doing from Ismail? How are you doing, Ismail? How can I show my clients, this from Ecomment Dynamics, how can I show my clients that the Parasite SEO strategy generated them sales? That's a fantastic question, to be honest. Tracking and attribution in the modern era is a nightmare, right? Like we have been dealing with this mostly since I started investing in SaaS companies and building SaaS projects. But holy hell, actually attributing, even like Facebook are the absolute worst for this. If you look at Facebook ads, they just attribute every sale that you have on your pixel to them, right? So the profit that you're making on your Facebook ads is normally a complete lie, because they just attribute everything to them. And I actually remember WP Eagle, Alex Cooper, WP Eagle, he did a tweet where he had to say to Facebook live chat that no, there's no way in hell that it could be attributed to you as a Facebook ad, because it was his mom buying the order and she didn't even have Facebook. So that was probably the best peak of Facebook ads. In terms of attribution, you just have to use tracking links. If it comes to local clients where you're doing Parasite SEO for like local service businesses, you have to do call tracking. So you have to use things like Twilio, where you can redirect and track calls and record calls and actually understand how they funneled into their lead system. But for clients, attribution is hard. Some clients aren't the best when it comes to, saying this is your leads and things like that. It's best to get contracts in place or do what James Dooley does and have equity. That's by far the best thing, right? Have equity in the business, and then you can just pump, and you get as many leads in from as many sources as you possibly can. And it's more value to you when you end up selling the business eventually as well. Hey, Scott. Hey, Tom again. So James says, I see high authority websites selling posts and rarely sell links. Is this the case? And do you know why this is the case? What's the best way to contact these Parasite pages? Yeah. So a lot of the high authority sites explicitly will ban selling links, right? And that's because of pushes by like the head of SEO, pushes by the CMO because of Google propaganda, all of these things. So a lot of the big, really high authority sites, they will just straight up ban selling links, full stop. When it comes to the reason, that's a whole different thing. However, they still do sell sponsored editorials, right? Generally, every media publication, every news organization, all of these things will sell editorials. It's part of their business. It's part of their bread and butter, right? So you can go to the New York Times, you can go to Forbes, you can go to all these things. You can buy a sponsored editorial and it will be on their website. It will be on their, you can get it on print if you want to pay exorbitant amount of money, but it will be on the website. If you want to contact these sites, you generally have to go through their ad buying department or their media buying department, or depending on how big they are, it can be all sorts of different department names, or it can just be one guy, right? Sometimes it'll be like a local newspaper and it'll just be the sales guy for that local newspaper. And you just need to speak to him and he'll have a flat rate. It'll be like $250 or $400 or $500. We'll get you the editorial. You get 3 links. They have to be no follow, all of these things, right? And generally speaking, every time you do a sponsored article, a sponsored editorial, you have to follow guidelines. And that is also because generally a lot of the media has got regulation from governments around sponsored editorials. So they need to be following those media guidelines and regulations. Otherwise, they can be in breach. And to be fair, some media companies teeter on the edge of those regulations quite a bit. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get sued. James also asked, how much can you get away with keyword stuffing on Parasite pages? Do authority sites typically vet potential buyers of posts? That's 2 questions, right? The first question is you can get away with keyword stuffing quite a lot. You generally want to over-optimize your content on Parasite pages more than you would on your own site by far, because those sites kind of are over-tuned anyway. With that being said, because they're so over-tuned, normally we actually don't make them as over-optimized because we're trying to have more longevity in the rankings. And if you do start making them really, really over-optimized, then the next core update generally tends to smack them because the quality score is kind of lower. And those algorithm's going to pick them up anyway. The second question, do authority sites typically vet potential buyers of posts? Depends on what the post is. Normally, they'll only vet you once you've told them what you're posting, right? If you're doing like gambling, if you're doing things, if you're doing a payday loan, stuff like that, they'll normally ask you for your license. So you normally have to have like a gambling license or a financial loan, banking license and things like that. A lot of the time, affiliates don't have that stuff. So we tend to try and work with partners that have got that stuff. So for example, in the UK, we ranked number 1 in the UK for about 3 or 4 years for short-term loans, right? And our partner was Zippy Loans. They were owned, but if anybody's British, they were owned by Dreams, who are a massive bed company in the UK. And we ranked the number 1 for short-term loans and a bunch of other payday loan keywords. The only issue that they had was because they were financially regulated, they could only take a small percentage of the leads and actually process them because they had to go through all of this additional regulation stuff. So we ended up giving them like 300 or 500 leads a day, and they couldn't actually process them through the right amount of things. So we had to close the website because they had too much business, which was actually crazy. And we've had that happen with a couple of clients, unfortunately. So you can actually have clients have too much success, which is half the reason why I don't like agencies as well, and the agency model. But I also just don't like working with people. So that's the main reason. Hey, Charles from Rodri. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Can I use Parasite SEO to include links to my main website and not cause any potential issues for a later date? There's no guarantee at all. That's the main issue. There's no guarantee that you don't have issues, because if you're building these parasites to rank, then generally you're going to be building them in more of a manipulative way. And that can be flagged by Google, right? So there is a 0% chance that you never get hit, right? But that's generally with anything. There's plenty of white hats which have been posting. They've got link penalties recently, and I know a few of them, and they haven't built any links, and I've checked their website, right? So unfortunately, there's just 99% of the time you're safe, but I would always I can never guarantee that with Google, right? Lab41 Alex asks, does Parasite SEO work for affiliate review sites, or is that dead in the water now? Actually, it works really well. So we've actually done it recently where you can take dead sites, so sites that were hit by HCU, extract their entire content, throw them to a parasite, and that parasite ranks. Authority tends to protect you versus algorithm updates like HCU. If you are DR99, HCU didn't really affect you, right? It didn't affect you at all. You could have the spammiest page in the world and it would still rank because you had that protected bubble of authority. And we saw that routinely with so many sites, right? Even if you look at TripAdvisor, I would say the average TripAdvisor page is very low quality, but they were ranking better than they were before or after HCU. I wouldn't necessarily call TripAdvisor that helpful content, right? Aqua asks, is it possible to rank and get organic traffic without building links? Yes. Parasite SEO is the way, right? You don't, like I just said about 20 minutes ago, you don't need to build a lot of links to a lot of these pages, especially in low competition search. We generally don't build any links. And because these pages are such high DR, they will rank immediately quite well. And if you're doing free parasites, you just build 20, 30, 40 parasites, and one of them is gonna rank pretty high. Generally speaking, 3, 4, 5 of them are gonna rank page 1, and you're gonna hopefully make commissions off of all of them. And sometimes when you do the Google dance, those 5 pages that are ranking top 10, they will dance in and out of 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll go all over the place. You can have 2 parasites that will just bounce back and forth between the feature snippets sometimes, and it can be your 2 pages. It's that happens to me all the time, and I just check this up, and it's one of the 2 ranking that day, the rest of the day, and I think it's something to do with Google testing, but you can't really be sure again. Mohammed says LinkedIn cannot put links in the articles, or am I wrong? You can 100% put links in the articles. If you Google legendary marketer review right now, I think number 2 or number 3 is a LinkedIn Pulse article by a SEO that I know, and he has just filled it with links and banner ads and things like that. And I'm pretty sure that page is generating a decent commission for him every month as well. Alan asks, we're in the female fitness and weight loss niche and sell our own products. When placing links on parasites, should I be using something like Rebrandly and a custom domain with UTMs for tracking? 1000% yes, right? I always recommend doing this. And it gives you a bit of deniability, a bit of credibility. I'm forgetting the word here, but a bit of like credible deniability is the word. Someone in the chat maybe can give me the word I'm thinking of. It gives you a bit of that plausible deniability that it was you. you can use affiliate links pretending to essentially be an affiliate, or use redirects and things like that, pretending to be an affiliate. So it never looks like it was the site owner in the first place. And I always recommend that if you're doing it for clients, if you're doing it as an agency, use that method. Make it look like it wasn't the site, and you can deny it the whole way. And Google shouldn't really ever penalize you for something that looks like an affiliate activity, right? Unless you are encouraging that activity via your term of service and things like that, and training. Richard asks, do you recommend posting multiple articles around similar products or keywords on the same Parasite website or different ones? If one Parasite works really well in a niche, abuse the hell out of that niche until you've run out of keywords for it to rank for, right? I would always recommend that one. If you find a Parasite that nobody else has found, if you find a Parasite that nobody else is really using, right? Bear in mind at ParasiteSEO.com, we've got, I think, 8,500 Parasites currently in the database. I guarantee you there's a fair few in there that a handful of people are using, and that there's nobody using it for the niche that you think of using it for, right? So if you do enough research, you'll be able to find Parasites that you can just abuse again and again and again in the same niche, because it's got such a strong authority. I still recommend building other Parasites, right? I never normally recommend building one Parasite for a SERP. That's normally never the goal. And the whole aim is normally to take multiple positions in that SERP, right? I'm more about SERP dominance than I'm about ranking number one, right? A lot of the time, which maybe is more to do with my character and stuff. Gigi asks, hey, Charles, would you be able to negotiate Parasite deals on an exclusive basis? Yes, it just depends on how much business you're bringing them. We've got one in place right now with one of the biggest news sites in the world, where we're the only one allowed to post in this category on this site of sponsored articles, right? It's costing us a lot of money. You're talking four figures, like mid four figures per post. And we're buying a handful of them every single month. But previously, they were selling like one a month. So we just guaranteed that they have more business than they had before. So their sales guy is loving it, right? So we've got a lot of stuff like that, which you can do. It's just the bigger players you get, the less likely you are to use them. And the more that they're used by other SEOs, the less likely you are to get them as well. We have a lot of exclusive deals, FX, the Telegram at the moment, for example, the Telegram at the moment, but we are looking for significantly more we can take exclusive. Yeah, so exclusivity massively depends on your ability to communicate with whoever's there and their current sales and things like that, right? If you send me a DM and you show me maybe a page or two, I can give you some examples of sites that I actually know are looking for exclusivity agreements. There's a couple of sites, right? I was asking if your new company will negotiate on offers. No, we don't. So we don't do any of the actual building yet, right? We're in beta, bear in mind. So maybe I should give a bit of reference, right? ParasiteSEO.com in beta is meant to literally just be a research tool. When we come out to beta and we start having the campaign builder, that's when we're going to have the ability to actually build the entire campaign inside the tool. And we're hoping eventually you can have an outreach manager and everything built into it. And when you have like direct contacts that already know our tool and have prearranged deals and things, so they'll reply to you immediately, kind of stuff, right? However, we just have way too much work to get to that stage. And the fulfillment side of things is too dangerous from a SaaS tool reputation standpoint, right? Let's say we ended up fulfilling, 100 of our users' pages and 10 sites just fuck with us, right? 10 of those users are now really pissed off. So, and it's not really our fault. So we prefer to not have to do that. Okay, so and I see for a cut, potentially, depends how big the cut is, right? I would DM me or DM James and we can potentially talk about it. James actually asked, did you play Sub Air Paintball? Yes, I did. I used to live like 30 minutes away from National Paintball Fields in the UK, which is the biggest paintball site in the UK. And I think in Europe, actually. They have 2 Sub Air fields. They have like 20 different maps inside the compound. It's absolutely crazy. And they'd have tournaments every single month. So I had my own guns, my own everything. It was awesome. Tom asks, what would you recommend as first steps for people who want to get into this? First steps, sign up for ParasiteSEO.com and go through the training, boy. No, I'm joking. I'm not joking, actually. You should do that. But first steps would just be to get dug in, right? If you already have a keyword you're thinking of, if you already have a niche, stuff like that, jump in, build some free Parasite pages, find a paid parasite that you know is probably going to rank pretty well for that keyword that isn't already ranked. There you can use the tool, like I said, to do it for you, and build that parasite, right? The main way to start is just jumping in with Parasite. And again, you don't have to spend any money. You can just build free parasites and just get to know it, get the feel, see how things rank, see how things work, see if you can get some commissions, stuff like that. The beauty of Parasite SEO is it's the only type of SEO that can literally cost you zero, because you can use ChatGPT for the research and content generation, and you can use your own mind and your own skills and your own fingers on the keyboard and mouse to actually create the pages and stuff. Whereas every other type of SEO, you need your own domain name, you need your own website, you need hosting, you need a CMS, you need all this stuff. At minimum, it's going to cost you $25. Realistically, it's going to cost you thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars, in total cost. And Parasite SEO is the only type which can cost you zero. So you can make a profit within the first 24 hours or so of working with it. Ecom Dynamics asks, how can I show my clients that the Parasite SEO strategy generates themselves? That's attribution, right? So again, you have to have some sort of attribution set up in the first place. If you use UTM tracking links, then inside of analytics, you can see where a user came from. So you can see the source, which will normally be a Parasite page, for example. You can see a source, like jpost.com or something like that. You'll see the referral, and then if it's an event tracking, you've got that all set up, you'll be able to see how much revenue you've generated from those referrals. Analytics, attribution, all that stuff isn't great. And the best way is normally still affiliate link tracking. If you can set up your own affiliate program, if a client has affiliate links, that's fantastic. If it's leads, if it's local, all that kind of stuff, then you have to do call tracking, you have to do email lead tracking. Actually seeing if those leads converted is its own ball game, and I can't talk about that on stream. Hey, what's up, yo, Rolo, as well? Sorry, the chat made two questions in one. Alex asks from Lab41 asks, what about if you don't see any parasites ranking at all in the niche? Is it worth pursuing? Yes. Again, it depends on the niche, right? So if you Google like best smartphones, it might be pretty hard to get a parasite ranking just because of how many constant news articles are coming in and out of the SERP. You'll see that SERP is one of the best for bouncing. You'll just see new news organizations constantly coming in and out of that SERP, right? It's never normally the same 10 pages every single day. If there is zero parasites in the SERP and the average competition is DR 30, 40, 100% go for that. That's what you should be doing. You should smash it every time, because Parasite SEO will just bully and exploit the other competitors in the SERPs, and you should be able to outrank them very quickly. Again, though, it depends on the intent as well. If Google is just ranking e-commerce sites in the top 10, all e-commerce category pages, then it's going to be pretty hard to rank with anything that isn't an e-commerce category page, and you're not going to be able to build a Parasite e-commerce category page, unfortunately. Maybe you could build like a Gumroad profile, or maybe you could be like an eBay parasite or an Amazon parasite or something. But again, that's its own ballgame. Roll asks, what rank tracking tools do you use? We use Wincher. We use our own custom script, and we use SE ranking, I believe. But I don't actually log into that one. That's like some of my business partners that use that, and they swear by it. But I don't actually like their interface, so up to you guys. And don't quote me on that, because they have emailed me asking me to be sponsored by them in the past as well. Not your average YouTube watcher says, could you speak about the viability of finding parasites in the firearms niche? Damn, son. Okay, guns. Again, this is where it depends on what firearm, right? Guns are going to be slightly more difficult than like bows and arrows, for example, right? So if you have like crossbows or bows and arrows or compound bows, stuff like that, there's tons of like outdoor magazines and outdoor publications and stuff that will take you, and that's totally fine. Tasers, I would actually say tasers and stuff are even harder than guns, right? Because there's some large news publications and some large publications. I can even think of one shot off the top of my head, like the Rolling Stone. The Rolling Stone is one that will accept sponsored editorials, but they will also accept content about firearms. So there are other stuff like the New York Times and stuff, they definitely won't, right? It depends on the site. When it comes to free parasites, basically all of them work. I would sign up to parasiteseo.com, and I would check with the Monster account on which parasites come up for paid and which parasites come up for free. If you're just doing this once off, you only need the account for like 30, 60 days to actually make sure you get the most out of it, and then you can cancel yourself. So you don't actually even need to use this for that long if you're just doing it for a kind of a one-off client/campaign. Carter Douglas asked, can this be done in the plumbing industry? Easy plumber city. Yes, but it's plumber city, right? You generally won't rank for because it's going to be a GMP. So you're going to have the local map packs that are going to be there. So it's going to be a lot harder to actually rank for those specific keywords because you're not going to rank in the map packs with a Parasite page. When it comes to other keywords, like I already said a little bit earlier, you can use service pages. So for example, you can use things like in winter, people have their pipes breaking. You can do stuff like that about winter pipes breaking in your city, or you can do all sorts of stuff like that. And you can just constantly go back to a CTA, back to your client, or back to your customer, or back to your own business if you're a plumber yourself, right? So stuff like that works fantastically. Just stuff that has a map pack, it won't work very well for. Nobody doing Parasite in our country for this industry. Average keyword difficulty to be around 30. Keyword difficulty doesn't really matter because Ahrefs only looks at keyword difficulty from a link perspective at the page level, and that doesn't really matter when it comes to Parasite SEO because we're more looking at like the domain authority and the domain rank, and Ahrefs doesn't even take that into account when it comes to keyword difficulty. So we actually think that KD is a pretty terrible metric. If you want to do it for specifically for local SEO, I'm going to have a video, hopefully on Friday, on Parasite SEO for local SEO. So tomorrow there should be a video coming out on Parasite SEO for ORM. So that's Parasite SEO for online reputation management. But then the next day, Friday, that's when we're going to have Parasite SEO for local SEO, and we're going to go in a lot more into detail into that. So Gammon D asks, can we post to different properties with your tool? So currently you can't do any posting on the tool, right? In beta, like I said, we're just a research and analysis tool. Once we get out to beta into V1 with the campaign builders and things like that, that's when stuff starts getting really to the next level, right? Alex asks, Lab41 asks, would you rather have one high-powered expensive Parasite or smaller ones? How do you allocate the budget? E.g. a 5K Parasite versus 5 $1,000 Parasites. That would depend on the niche, right? Generally speaking, I'm going to go with the 5 times 1K Parasites because you'll be able to rank for a lot more long tails with 5 different pages than you can with 1. And you can target all the different long tails with the 5 different pages and start ranking them higher for those different long tails with the different variations. So you're going to get more traffic over time anyway with that method. If you are going into a really, really big niche, then you're talking, I would probably go with a $5,000 Parasite just because you're going to have more of a chance of ranking. There's going to be less people using that domain, so the average quality score is going to be higher. And generally, you're going to get a lot higher DR out of your sites. So it depends, like I said, in the niche. But 90% of the time, I'm going to go with the 5 Parasites. If I want to go for something really competitive, it's going to be the $5,000 Parasite. Ecom Dynamics asks, when will the beta end? Question mark, question mark, question mark. The beta ends on the 25th of September. So that is when Campaign Builder should release. The Campaign Builder itself will release in beta. So the Campaign Builder will be in beta, but ParasiteSEO.com will be in V1.0. So the actual full tool with everything included will be released. It's just some elements of the tool, which the main element will be the Campaign Builder, will still be in beta. So I don't guarantee you that every single, nook and cranny and bells and whistles is going to be enabled on launch day on 25th of September, but the entire tool will be available. And bear in mind, right now, you've got like 25% of what is going to be available in a few weeks' time. James asks, do you use the same article on the free Parasites, link to Medium, etc.? No. So we always use unique articles, and we'll get Cuppa to rewrite an article normally over and over and over again, right? Roll asks, can you go deeper into how you do reverse sync or some link building? Also, will you raise prices when you check about it? Yes, we are raising the prices. If you go on the site right now, you'll see how much we're going to raise the prices by. That should have been added on launch. We didn't do that. That was a mistake on our part. However, if you go to parasiteseo.com right now, you'll be able to see the pricing. You'll be able to see the new pricing after launch. So make sure you get in on the early pricing to grandfather and over. In terms of can I go deeper into the reverse sync or swim link building strategy, 100%. It's very easy, right? All I do is look up the keyword I'm trying to rank for, and then I'll look for pages that I can build a link on. That depends on what I'm building a link to, right? If it is a direct competitor at a business level, so I'm an e-com site and I'm trying to build links from other e-com sites, they're not going to link to me, right? Unless they're going out of business or they're in administration or something, they're bankrupt. they're not linked to me. I need other sites that are non-direct competitors, but are still SERP competitors. So they're still ranking top 100, but they're not in competition with me as a business. They're going to link directly to us for a payment. And a lot of the time, we've been able to get 2 or 3 of these links from the top 100 sites. And our page has gone from, number 5, number 8, number 9, number 11, number 13. And it's gone immediately to number 1 as soon as a couple of those links have gone live and hit it. And actually, as a bit of a surprise, we are doing it right now on ParasiteSEO.com. So let me just quickly see and check this here. I don't think Ahrefs has picked it up yet. Actually, it has. If you go and put in Ahrefs, oh no, it hasn't picked it up yet. Okay, it's picked up Oliver's site. Damn it. Okay, anyway, we are doing the reverse income tactic right now on ParasiteSEO.com. So I think already, right now, 4 of the pages that are ranking for Parasite SEO that are not owned or controlled by me are already linking to our domain within the first 72 hours of us going live. In the next few days, maybe a week, there's going to be about another 5. So I reckon 10 of the top 100 sites for Parasite SEO are going to be linking to our site with a direct do follow link. So there is an exact example of how I've done it. And I haven't paid a penny for any of them, by the way. So there you go. Alex asks, can you do a quick overview of how you power up parasites with links? Just a few examples. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an actual link building for parasites video next week. So you'll be able to see a full breakdown of strategies, a couple case studies, all that kind of stuff, which is going to go in way more detail than I would ever be able to do on a live chat webcam stream. And then Mikhail asks, and this will be the last question because I can already feel my voice going and we've been going for over an hour here, asks, how can I make LinkedIn articles indexable by Google? After publishing a company page, they have a no index tag. Again, so the no index tag depends on your profile. Normally, if you are a premium profile, it gets removed. If you are a company profile, you need to enable that company to be public, and you need to enable some of the settings on your site. There's also another thing that you can get where you can get your account flagged because you post too many LinkedIn post articles before, and they'll no index all of your articles. So there's like 5 different reasons why it could be no index. I'm not 100% sure on which one it would be for your specific reason, unfortunately. Sorry. Econaut says, I'll add this one question. Which parasite sites give out do-follow links for cheap? Loads. There's a lot. I would say there's like 2,500 sites that you can get in Parasite SEO that are, 250, not 2,500. 250 sites that you can get in Parasite for under $100. There's probably another 500 that you can get for under $500. And then over $500, you're talking like 1,000 sites or so. So there's a lot available. And then if you go outside of English, there's even more. So it great depends on your niche, your language, all that kind of stuff. But I can't give you any specific parasites for cheap. I do know that you can get like, what's it called? Outlook India still for like $100. I know that you can get, I'm trying to think of all the ones that are stuck in my head. Buffzone.com, that's like $250, stuff like that. So there's a couple of the sites out there. Last question, do they need to be do-follow or can no-follow work? For parasites, I'd love to see that video. 100%, I'll get that video next week. So it does, because you're not using parasites for link building, because the intent is to rank those parasite pages, generally speaking, it doesn't matter, right? So it doesn't matter if they're no follow, it doesn't matter if they do follow, because we're going to rank those pages, and it's about how much traffic we can get from that page to our affiliate link, to our brand link, to our CPA, to our product, service, whatever it is, right? So that's the main intent, is to try and get the traffic there. It doesn't really matter on my end if they do follow or no follow, because they're not meant to be linking to anything to bring signals and value back. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Thank you for sticking with me for well over an hour at this point, and I hope I answered everybody's questions. No worries at all, Alex. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream and I got through everybody's questions. I'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this one. I appreciate you guys so much. Join ParasiteSEO.com. Make sure to get on the early beta pricing. See you guys next one. Peace.